To all who come to this happy podcast, welcome to FreshBaked a happy place where each week we combine imagination, experience, and discuss, challenge, and explore all things Disneyland. I am Ron Berner, and with me as always is the indelible Mr. FreshBaked himself, David Erickson.
What's up, FreshBaked?
And this, of course, is the FreshBaked podcast, episode 18. Thanks for joining us, where today we explore the Disney Genie service and share our real-time experiences. We reach into the mailbag to answer your questions, and of course, our 5 things Disneyland. Happy holidays, David. How are you and yours this special time of year?
Very good, Ron. Happy holidays to you as well. I'm doing great. We're doing great. Hopefully yours are as well.
Yeah, we're a happy little family. Everything's good.
Good.
Still cold, but everything's
good.
Yes.
Yes.
Good times. So, previously we discussed, the announcement and the launch of Disney's Genie service, the awkwardly named Genie Plus, Disney's Genie service, Lightning Lane, all of these things. And since then, we've had opportunity to actually go to the park and utilize it and see how we like it, what we think, how it compares to previous systems and park experiences. So how did your travels go?
Well, I don't know if I'm exactly the right person for the job in the sense that I do Disneyland in a very casual manner. I definitely use Genie, and I found it useful at times. Well, let me take that back. Genie Plus. Okay.
Right. I know.
Boy, you nailed it when you talk about the awkwardly named service, because Genie Plus. I mean, trying to delineate the difference between the two has become sport. I did a lot of testing on Genie myself. I did some testing first on Genie Plus. It was a terrible, disastrous opening day for me. I was there at opening day. The first day they released it, it was a non-start. They stopped selling it because it was going so poorly. You couldn't do what it was supposed to do. But I did test Genie Plus, and I did test the Genie software. Varying degrees of success, some total failures, some met expectations. I guess I don't want to call it like a total win, because it's not an improvement over MaxPass, which that's what I guess that's what we're measuring this against. You measured against MaxPass, I suppose. Same price point.
Yeah, I did. I mean, that's what I wanted to know was how it related to MaxPass, because that's the only thing I had utilized in the past.
Well, that's all we had. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of I guess efficiency and park navigation and speed, and of course with a young son trying to park dominate.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to see. I specifically went with the agenda of knowing what I'd done in years past, or what we had done together in years past, as far as massive number of rides and efficiency, and like this little game that we play. So I wanted to specifically see how Disney or Genie Plus. I always want to say Disney Plus, let alone
right.
Genie Plus. And so I went to the park, and we went to the park together, utilizing that. And I should say I did it casually, from the standpoint of we still ate, we still got treats, we still talked to people when it presented itself, but we also knew where we were headed each time. And I coordinated Lightning Lane and those things along the journey, and it went very well, I will say.
I should hope so, because as we're going to be talking about in a future video on FreshBaked, Genie Plus and MaxPass are pretty much identical, with the exception being that you can't, let's say if you're a DCA, you can't ride Radiator Springs or Web Slingers. But the functionality is essentially the same. Did you have benchmarks in mind when you were hitting the parks, like trying to compare it at certain levels, like in terms of the number of rides you're able to get onto, or if the efficiencies were any different? Because I know they've changed some of the mix points today, versus what they were back in the day.
Yeah, so I absolutely know, because it's like walking your dog or driving on traffic. You know where you are at a specific meeting, at a specific minute of a commute, right? we have done it so many times, and we did it exactly in the same fashion that we did before. So, of course, I believe in starting on Space Mountain. So we did that whole route. And, some key indicators are be in the park for rope drop, and that was what we were, and then go from there. And I can say, I'll tell you this. I time-stamped everything, and I have it in front of me if we want to get real detailed. But I did it as an experiment for myself as well as for the show and all of those type of things. But I time-stamped every single thing from the moment my butt hit the ride. Like once I sat, because I needed some sort of like consistency on where that would be. And going through, we wiped out all of Tomorrowland by 9:27. Space Mountain.
Did you use lightning lanes at that time?
Yeah, so this is where like the park domination, like the pro tips will come in to play. I don't believe in using lightning lane until it's not necessary. So no. I don't use it. Here's the thing: you have to understand which rides are problems, and that is Indiana Jones. And when I say problem, I mean a long wait, and it just doesn't maximize your efficiency. In my opinion, you don't need to maximize, or you don't need to utilize lightning lane until Indiana Jones open. And by the way, that means if I'm specifically looking for the window between 10 and 12. So I don't even get my lightning lane till I'm in the park for a couple of hours, because that doesn't...
Good. I'm glad you said that, because that's what I was finding as well.
Yeah, you have to wait, and And another pro tip, I guess I only say it's a pro tip, in fact, in the element of Indiana Jones constantly breaks down, and what happens when it breaks down is you get a multi-pass, and you can use it for any fast pass attraction in the park. Of course, you want to ride Indiana Jones, so it's almost self-defeating, but that being said, it kind of works in your favor if the ride goes down. And not only that, Indiana Jones typically does come back, which means you could utilize it at any point you want throughout the day, because there's no time limit on those multi-pass things. So that is a good benefit. So I can tell you, we went straight on to Space Mountain, and my butt hit at 8:21. So I went through the queue, through the line, and then we were at Star Tours at 8:31. So we did the ride and walked over to Star Tours, literally walked on. 11 minutes later, I sat on Buzz Lightyear, and then Astro Orbiter at 9:07, and then Autopia at 9:27. So,
and you haven't used a single lightning lane yet.
Not only have I not used one, I haven't even ordered the Indiana Jones one, because it was still early. And maybe about that time is about when I would have got it. So
that's a key point, because you can't pick your time. So if you want Indiana Jones, you have to wait until it's at the right moment before you select it.
That's
you can't
correct.
just, pick I want to do it at 2:00.
Exactly, and that's where experience comes in, because I know when I want, and the reason I want that time for Indiana Jones is because that's when I'll have worked my way around the park. So somewhere between 10 and 12, I'll be over in that proximity, because I literally just go efficiently around the park. I would say that you don't want to I guess if you want to zigzag, you can zigzag. I just don't do it, because you don't need to, unless if you're frantically just getting lightning lanes like crazy, then you might find yourself in that kind of a situation.
Well, may I use this point to submit the fact that that's what Genie wants you to do. Genie wants you to zigzag, apparently, because it had me going. I let Genie plan my day, right? It had me going from Fantasyland to Adventureland to Tomorrowland, back to Fantasyland, back to Adventureland, back to Fantasyland.
Really?
With no, and I was walking past attractions that were walk-ons. That, when I was in Fantasyland, for example, they sent me to Toads. I could have gone on Snow White right there. They said, no, go to Tiki Room.
That is so interesting.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's by design or if it's just because the Genie is a simpleton.
It's just not smart, because you could see so many flaws.
Of course not.
You could see so many flaws in terms of timing as well, because
it would have cost me 5 minutes. It would have cost me 5 minutes to ride Snow at the time that I walked by it. Instead, I came back and it was 30 minutes.
That's an interesting addition that they should add to that, is mileage. They should have a GPS showing.
Oh, really?
That is very, very interesting, and that's a good note to have. I found the app to be. There's a lot of other things I want to get into, but I found the app to be clumsy. For example, Actually, I'll let you know when I first get to Lightning Lane. I'll just tell you now. So the
Okay.
Autopia, I did 927. Okay, so here's some of the pro tips that I want to make sure I get out today. Honestly, so we leave Autopia, then our next line of business is the Matterhorn. Because we've now done every single attraction that Tomorrowland has. I don't always do Astro Orbiter because unless it's extremely short, it's just a very slow loading unit.
Does not go quick though.
It doesn't go quick, so we do often skip it. But this time we didn't because I was just curious. I wanted to add it to it. So we walked around. This is a very important tip that I want people to at least hear. We walked around to Matterhorn. The front of the Matterhorn was bananas. It was so crowded and it was so loaded. Both sides were going. The Lightning Lane was jam-packed as well as the standby queue. I walked up to the cast member because it had moved. I walked up to her. This is where I preach to anybody who will listen. Use the single rider, please.
Yeah.
I walked up to the cast member and I said, "Where's single rider?" And she's like, "Oh, it's around the corner now." And
They moved it.
They moved it, and that was new to me because
Yeah.
I'm a single rider lover of on this attraction. So all these people, this hordes of people, maybe as many as I've ever seen. I know it used to wrap around the Matterhorn, so it doesn't do that anymore. But it was massively packed. We walked up to first place. There's nobody in front of us. I turned around to my son and I said, "That's about as perfect as it can get." And while I was saying that, she goes, "Single rider." So we went and sat, and before I even got to my line to turn around, he was already behind me.
Wow.
And that's single rider for the Matterhorn. And the amount of time that saves. So since we're talking about single rider, I will also say later in the day, Splash Mountain walked on. Long line at Splash Mountain as always. I do not believe in a Lightning Lane for Splash Mountain. I do not believe in Lightning Lane for Matterhorn, and I do not believe in Lightning Lane for Radiator Springs. And I'm just saying, you can do those things if you want, but you're wasting a Lightning Lane that you only get the window of opportunity, and you single rider all of those. I walked onto Splash Mountain. We walked onto Splash Mountain, and Radiator Springs. I actually bought beer. Yeah. I bought beer and walked to the Radiator Springs Lightning Lane, and she goes, I actually was carrying two because I thought it would take a while. And
oh no!
And she goes, "Chug, chug, chug," and I go, "I know," because we essentially walked onto that, and I'm not exaggerating when I say that was 3 hours of my day. I walked on. So if you don't that's just single rider for you.
Yeah, most people are aware of the benefit of going single rider on Radiator Springs. That's been sort of a not so well kept secret. I don't remember the last time I did standby on Radiator Springs, but even more so today because now you're if you want to skip the line, you have to pay for that fast pass. So not only are you not paying for single rider, but you're also doing it faster than somebody could do, even with a fast pass maybe or Lightning Lane on Radiator Springs racers. So
and it would go empty without you in line.
Yeah. And we'll say it again. There is no cost to you, the guest, for me riding single rider or my whole family, for that matter. Single rider, any seat that a single rider occupies would have gone empty. They would not have put anybody in that seat. It's not taking anybody's seat. It is a seat that is free to the single rider. So before I always like to put that little disclaimer out.
So that was a pack. So 927 Autopia, 941 Matterhorn. That's how long it took me. So we rode Autopia, which is from the time my rear end hit the seat on Autopia was 927. We went through the entire attraction, walked to the Matterhorn, and sat on it at 941. Think about that.
Yeah, wow. That's a 9-minute ride. Autopia is about 10 minutes. So that means, that's just footsteps. That's it. The time it takes you to walk there.
I'm telling you, I walked, and she pointed to it, and I go, "Thank you." I walked around the corner. I go, "That's new." We walked straight in. Now, granted, there's a little bit of luck. Sometimes there are usually a few people in front of you, so you might be there for a couple minutes, a few minutes. You're not there very long. So that was certainly fortuitous. Same with Splash Mountain. There was 0 people in front of us for Splash Mountain. Fortuitous, and that was actually the fastest I'd seen Radiator Springs because usually there's a couple people in front of you.
Radiator
So-
Springs has usually a pretty deep single rider queue.
But even that said, it goes so quickly. I mean, I don't. It's
Yeah.
15, 20 minutes. So anyway,
Yep.
to get going with where I went to Roger Rabbit next, then Go Gadget Coaster, then It's a Small World, then Mr. Toad's, then Pinocchio. No lines, did it all. So that's 11 attractions I just did, and when my rear end hit on Pinocchio, it was 10:49. So we had
Jeez
already
Louise.
done 11 attractions at that point, and we did skip Snow White because there was a 30-minute line. We usually try to do it, but there was a 30-minute line for Snow White, so we ended up skipping that. Casey Jr. only had a 5-minute wait, and we were going to do that, but just decided not to because we wanted to get over to Big Thunder. And at this time, we did have Lightning Lane for Indiana Jones, and I also had Lightning Lane for Smuggler's Run because that you get that window. So I already
How
had
did you do both? Did you did the 2-hour cooldown, or when did you buy Indiana Jones?
yeah, the
Well,
2
buy
hour...
Genie Plus, I should say, for Indy.
Oh, I bought it as soon as I walked into the park. I just didn't get the
Well,
attraction.
when did you book Indy? What time?
Like 9, somewhere after 9.
So at 11 o'clock, you've got your cooldown has expired, and now you've got a second.
Right, and not only that, but so at this point, Indy had broken down, and I had a multi-pass, which now allows me to get another one.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it worked out. Either way, it would have worked out about the same as far as time. So when we left Pinocchio, we went to Big Thunder, rode that. It was 11:12. Now
On Lightning Lane.
Nope, I refuse to use Big Thunder's another one that I will not use Lightning Lane because
What do you use it for, Ron?
I use Lightning Lane. I use Lightning Lane for I stack though. That's the other thing is you can get Lightning Lane if you want to just go straight to an attraction, but I use Lightning Lane for Haunted Mansion, Indiana Jones and Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, and Smuggler's Run in Disneyland. Those are 3 right there, and by the afternoon I have Guardians, Toy Story. I have everything stacked.
Because you're well,
I'm
but
I'm
that's what I
waiting
don't
for
understand.
time. I'm waiting for
Smuggler's
time
Run.
to pass.
Smuggler's Run is typically a now. It's not for a couple hours from now. So how are you able to get?
Well, that one I did. So Big Thunder was at 11:12, and I had Smuggler's Run for 10:30 to 11:30. So
see.
I had gotten that after I discovered Indiana Jones went
Yeah,
kaput.
yeah.
So then I got Smuggler's Run, and that was for 10:30 to 11:30. Another pro tip, if you don't know, you can scan in 10 minutes prior to your time. And I utilize that a lot. It depends. I usually go at the end of my Lightning Lane time.
Sure.
But you can scan in 10 minutes to the T because I tested it. 10 minutes to the second because now everything's digital. And 15 minutes after. And I wouldn't play with the after too much because it erases from your phone. It's no longer there, so you can't even show a cast member.
Yeah.
So we did Smuggler's Run. So at 11:12, we sat down for Big Thunder. Then we had to then we had to get to Smuggler's Run, which ended at 11:30, and we rode that at 11:28. Then we walked on to Splash Mountain. A funny thing, when we got off of Splash Mountain, another attraction we would have done. So that's 14 by 11:56. That's 14 rides. We would have done Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh is typically 5 minutes. It was 25 minutes. At 11:56 on Saturday, Winnie the Pooh was 25 minutes, so we skipped it.
I think I know why that is, and it goes towards why Splash Mountain was easy for you to get on because it's the time of year. I would say that any other like spring, summer, even early fall, Splash Mountain is probably a good candidate for MaxPass or for Lightning Lane because it does have a long. You do save some time. Being the winter, it's a walk on most of the day. So all the people who are in the neighborhood of Critter Country, instead of going on Splash Mountain because it's cold, are going to go to Winnie the Pooh.
Right. I only single rider Splash Mountain, so I walked straight on through single rider, not through the long line.
Right.
But yeah, that's certainly true. The difference in and the other thing that I swear by, but Disney refuses to admit, is that they turn the water down in the winter months because I get drenched in the summer and I do not get drenched in the winter. And nobody will ever admit to this, but I promise you.
Well, I'm glad they do then. If that's the case. Yeah.
I know. Because
I don't like being wet.
That second seat, yeah, not when it's cold for sure. So then we did Pirates 1243, and I had a lightning lane for Haunted Mansion from 110 to 210 when we did that at 115.
That's a huge time saver, Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, even though it does move quickly and it's fun. It's not fun when you get in the back, actually. But I do use it for that. And like I said, the strategy, keep in mind, I believe in getting as far away of a lightning lane as I can, instead of saying, okay, what can we race to right now to get in the time slot?
Right. I see. You want something where there's a big time difference.
And I want to hit the attractions that I know are absolutely imperative, like Guardians of the Galaxy. You have to have it for that, because otherwise it doesn't work out. So anyway, I did Jungle Cruise at 142. And so by 142, that was 17 attractions in Disneyland. And I still had the multi-pass for Indiana Jones, and we just skipped it to go to DCA because we had lunch scheduled over at Smoke Jumpers.
Smoke Jumpers, yeah.
And that was a 2:00 Smoke Jumpers, which I had to get this for a side note. They scanned my pass, and the older gentleman that was there didn't even look at the photos. He was just like showing the people. So he would scan it and show the people. And he showed me, and it was a cute girl. And I was like, that's my name, but that's not me. I know, right? So then it became a whole ordeal for 45 minutes. I was literally standing there dealing with cast members were very helpful, but they couldn't figure out
the strangest thing.
Some glitch happened, and I told them I had to go eat, and they said, okay, we'll try and take care of it, but we can't delete it. Something's wrong. We have to go to the main office, blah, blah, blah. And he said, hopefully when you go back to DCA or Disneyland, or next time you enter the gates, hopefully they ask you to take your photo again, because hopefully we just deleted it, and we made a note in there so the cast member will know that everything's good. We just need a rephoto. And of course, so I went to eat, and I when I ended up leaving, I checked it, and that did happen, and that did work out. But the reason I bring that up, besides that being the strangest thing ever, that delayed me over a half an hour. So.
No.
Well, no, I don't.
Domination is spoiled.
No, that's a misconstrued thing. Park Domination isn't. It's not an Olympic event. It's just to utilize it to see how it goes. Like if it would have been. So we went to sit down and eat. I went to a beer stand on my own, or not on my own, with him. And I went to a churro stand. Like we do things, and we talk to people. People recognize the podcast. People talk to me all the time, and I encourage it. I love talking to people, so I'm all for it. So those type of things were happening, and the reason I bring that up specifically is to make the point. There was no racing going on. There was no hurry, and even casually going through the park. Yes, we knew where we were going, but that was 17 attractions by 1:30 with a fast pass. Lightning Lane still available. I don't
think I've done 17 attractions this month.
Oh, I know. Well, it's also different. You have a producer show. But so then we went. I ate. We went to Smoke Jumper. So I did we did Radiator Springs. So we did Grizzlies first. I ate. Went to Grizzlies. We were on that at 3:05. Did walk on for Radiator Springs. By the time we sat down, it was 3:35. So that's how fast I had to pound 2 beers, which I fully thought I would have another 20 minutes. Guardians of the Galaxy Lightning Lane I had from 4:05 to 5:05, and we ate churros even before that. And that was 4:12. We did Little Mer.
3 Lightning Lanes now you've used?
Nope, I've used 3 if you. Guardians was the 4th, but I still had the one in the can from Indy. So I used Smugglers, Haunted Mansion, Indiana Jones.
That's right, and Indy. That's right.
And then Guardians we used at 4:12 for 4:05 to 5:05. Did Little Mermaid, did Incredicoaster, and Silly Symphony Swings at 5:26. So we left the park after that, but I had Toy Story Lightning Lane at 5:55 to 6:55, and I had Goofy Ski School from 6:35 to 7:35. And if I would have waited we left at 5:26. Oh, that was when we got on the ride. So we left at like 5:45, 5:30, 5:45. if I would have waited till 5:45, I could have gotten one for Soren for 8 o'clock. So I still could have utilized it. And in total, having eaten and gone to 2 concession stands, that would be 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 rides with 3, because we never used the Indy. We still had that available. So we did 26 rides with still 3 Lightning Lane ready to go. And it was only before 6 p.m.
Yeah, it wasn't even 6 o'clock yet. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would just say for those reasons, the main thing is use single rider. That's just going to save you 3 hours.
Yeah.
It really is. I was looking to see if I made any other specific notes, but I already mentioned them in the conversation. I did think the app was clumsy for you as well, you said?
Well, clumsy in a sense that, I mean, I didn't have any trouble navigating it. But I've heard a lot of people say that the user interface is not very good. But I mean, I don't know. Using software isn't usually hard for me in that sense. But
no, that is true. But I also think there's a user-friendly way to do it, and believe it or not, I found it to be slightly antiquated. And what I mean by that is slightly basic, not as far as easy to use, but it wasn't as robust as I had expected it to be.
That's the thing, is that they went, man, when they first showed us that video, when they're like announcing Genie and they're like showing you all these fancy motion graphics and stuff like that, they made it sound like they were just going to transform your day with all these cool features. But, the tip board is cool in the sense that the tip board does give you sort of a bite-sized view of both the standby wait time and the return time for the Lightning Lane if you want to do that. So it helps to make a decision there. But the My Day thing is just pointless, completely pointless. It's not intelligent. It's not any kind of AI. It's not even It's just, I don't even know what it is. I'm pretty sure that there is no system to the Genie. It's not thinking. They talk about intelligent software. They talk about software that's supposed to, analyze and interpret and make predictions. It's not any of that. It's just random.
I think it's collecting data.
Well, it is collecting data for sure. And it is doing that. And it is trying to sell us. It did try to upsell me to Rise once into Genie Plus because I was, refusing not to buy Genie Plus. I was like, are you sure? This kind of thing.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
It's doing that. It hasn't yet gotten to the point where it's asking me if I want to get a churro, if I'm by a churro stand or something like that.
No, that's coming though. But no, I get it.
But the whole concept of it being able to intelligently tell you where to go at the right time it's not a thing. It's just absolutely not a thing. In fact, if you were to follow Genie, it would be the opposite of that. It's the opposite of efficient. It is slowing you down. It is making your day more, time costly or whatever the term is. I don't know.
You're right. You just reminded me of something I really wanted to say. I found myself staring at my phone, which is something I loathe.
Yeah.
I do not want to be staring at my phone. I will say this, in fairness to any app, I work in digital media, digital marketing and stuff. Or just think of cell phones. There's always bugs. There's things that they need to work out. So I expected that, and that's fine. So I'm not hard on it at all. It's almost beta that we're just using live, and then we'll see where it goes from here. I do think that the thing I didn't like, I still to this day don't know how to find my Lightning Lane attractions. I literally went to the ride, and maybe this is the way. I went to like the show list or the attraction list.
Oh yeah.
And I clicked on a ride, and then when the ride opened, there's a Lightning Lane button in there.
Yeah.
And I clicked that to see because I don't know where it lived.
Well,
and
you don't have to actually.
In.
You don't have to find it. You can just scan your ticket.
Well, I wanted to know how much time I had before I could get another one and to select another one. So I don't need to find it for that, but I need to find it to stack because it.
Yeah, that was the bug that people were reporting the most on opening day was that and it happened to me. I booked Rise of the Resistance, but I couldn't find it anywhere on my app. Normally, where it should be is at the very top of the homepage. That's where it should be. when you hit home on the app, and it should be right there at the top, right? And then it'll show you if you have any dining reservations and that kind of thing, mobile orders. That was the bug. That's what crashed the system opening day, was that people couldn't see anything. And so it's surprising. I haven't bought since the first day I've tested it. I haven't bought Genie Plus since then. So I haven't been able to really say whether or not that's still the thing that's happening, but apparently it is, because if you couldn't see yours.
No, it's clumsily located, and it's also mixed in with the other things, which it's mixed in with the Genie stuff that I don't want to participate in.
Right,
like I'm not doing that. It should be if it is its own thing, which they're touting it as, then let it have its own place to live.
Well, that's the naming conventions. They really screwed that up.
Yeah,
I don't know if they did that on purpose or not. I'm not sure if there was some sort of psychological reason for them doing that. That is, but the names are just, it's just not working for me, man.
It isn't working for me either. And like I want to call it this. I want to call the whole app Genie Plus. And then like all the things in there are different versions of it, but the whole thing is not even Genie Plus. Genie Plus is a thing.
Yeah, Genie Plus isn't even an app of its own. There isn't a click a button for Genie or click a button for Genie Plus. Those that's not a thing. You click Genie, and then you upgrade to Genie Plus, but it's still the same software. It's just a different. Now you can book a lightning lane. That's it.
Yeah. So I guess in closing, as far as my experience goes, if you want adrenaline and adventure, and you want to hit a number of attractions, I'm a big fan of it. So I used 6, and it cost me $20 plus I got all the photo pass.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, and I left at 6 p.m. It got dark, and I'm old, and I'm like, I'm good, and I'm a sports fan. I wanted to go home and watch sports because, again, I go all the time. If you're going to be there for all the additional 4 or 5 hours, just think about how much additional value is added on top of that. So I casually went to the park. I will say also the thing I noticed, the only difference I noticed between MaxPass and Genie Plus, and it might have to do with the number of people that were in the park. I assume that it does. The rolling times back in the day with MaxPass to stack happened quickly. Like by lunchtime, you're lucky to get Radiator Springs or Guardians of the Galaxy at 5 or 6.
Oh,
p.m.
yeah.
Now it was I feel like it's by design, because it was unrolling like every hour, 2 hours. It seemed like it had a slower roll for open window times. That's something I would have to investigate further. But that was the one noticeable difference. Everything else was exactly the same.
That could be a factor of people just not wanting to pay for it.
Well, that's what I mean. Park attendance. Yeah, right. Totally. I suspect that's part of it as well.
They're not selling them.
Right.
Especially if it's something like Radiator Springs, where people are going to opt out of buying Radiator Springs. So if Radiator Springs was on a regular MaxPass, that's the first one to go. That would be sold out by noon. Or even before then, when it first came out, it was sold out in 30 minutes. But when you're starting out, now that you're paying, between $7 and $20 for it, it's going to linger a little bit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is. It is interesting. There's ways to have an enjoyable day casually, and I can say with confidence that you can casually go through the days, casually go shopping, do whatever you want to do, and still hit 20 plus rides. You really can.
Let me close with this. You're correct. You can do both. Genie Plus does work. It is a good piece of software. It is very useful. You don't have to. Going standby is very enjoyable for me. I had a great time going standby, and I did. When I was testing, I did 6, 7, 8 attractions or whatever. I mean, I had a good time for me. Genie Plus. You talked about I did 20-something rides before 6 p.m. and it was almost as if you were. One might suggest, well, if you stayed longer, you could do even more. But the whole point of Genie Plus is to allow you to do those 20-plus attractions before 6 p.m. so that you can go home and enjoy the rest of your day, so that you don't have to spend all 17 hours of your day in the park trying to maximize. Now you can do the 20-plus rides in, I don't know, 8 hours or 10 hours or whatever. Yeah. It all depends on what kind of day you're trying to have. And if you are trying to have that kind of day, absolutely $20 is worth it. Just do the math. You said 6 That's
Well, I did 6 with 3 left over.
and you could have done more. Let's say, you could have easily done 8 or 9. So that's what, $2 an attraction?
Right.
Come on. I mean, if
And
I
I got
had
all the-
come to you and said, "Hey, Ronnie, Indiana Jones right here. Give me $2. I'll let you go on right now." Like, who's going to say no to that, right?
Right, and I got also all the photo pass, which is
Yeah.
the ride photo pass is one thing, but then the photo pass by talking to him, you get like what 7, 8 different poses, and I think there's value in it. It's good. It's a good thing. I also think that you have to be smart. If you if you don't go a single rider, then that just gives me more opportunity to get there just as fast. But that's 3 hours. There's no denying that I saved myself 3 hours by those 3. Single rider lines.
Yep.
So anyway, that's a good start. We'll definitely see where it goes because there's gonna be more things roll out with the app. It's gonna be more hopefully it's getting data and it's getting smarter and it kind of refines itself. We'll see where it goes. Too early to tell, but from my initial experience, it was MaxPass and it worked just the way I remember the park. And to me, that's encouraging. It's like, okay, as much as it seems like things are different, you know what? They're kind of the same. And I know the crowds aren't where they were, but I'm just saying it was a little bit of a refreshing thing for me to think, okay, they're not completely changing the landscape of how you do things. Even though it's kind of, the narrative almost feels like it seems that's what's happening, but not.
But it's not. That's almost an exact point I would be making in an upcoming video that there's people are angry about Genie Plus, but it's kind of misdirected in certain times. Bottom line is, if you were a fan of MaxPass, you should be a fan of Genie Plus. That's the bottom line.
Right. And like I'll say this again. That's every single time I go. If I were to pay, that's $20 times 50 visits versus $20 or $200 for the year. There's a difference in the math, but either way, utilize it. And not to mention a family of 4 or family of 5, they're paying $20 per person.
Yeah, that's a whole different set of math right there, isn't it?
Right. Okay, this week in Disney history, Mr. Erickson.
All right.
So, it is Christmas week, holiday week, and very commonly Christmas Day has films that come out. I will go through some classic Disney films, and I'll just kind of give you the fun facts about it, and then as soon as I'm done, you can kind of just chime in with any commentary you may have on the film, rather than me just asking you, have you seen this, or when's the last time you've seen this?
Assignment understood.
This one was not Christmas Day, but December 21st, 1944, The Three Caballeros world premiered in Mexico City. The 71-minute film is 4 short films on Latin America, with Donald Duck and his Latin American amigos, a parrot, Jose Carioca, I think, and a Mexican charro rooster, Panchito Pistoles. Aurora Miranda dances with Donald in the Bahia sequence, showing how far the studio had advanced the art of combining animation with live actors. This is the first time Walt had attempted incorporating live-action characters in an animated scene since the Alice comedies in the 20s. And the film was nominated for 2 Academy Awards for sound and score.
I highly recommend doing a little research on Three Caballeros. Don't just watch it, but learn a little bit about the history and how it was filmed, because it's an interesting story of how that film was made. Because actually, I think it led to that documentary feature that they did also about them going to South America to research that. Three Caballeros is legend.
It really is. It's great. Big fan of it. And it's a small one. 1954, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea opened. Based on the 1869 story by French science fiction author Jules Verne's, Walt went to great depths to ensure that the movie would be equally as compelling and spared no expense in creating the film's undersea world. It cost $4.2 million to make. It was the first Disney movie filmed in CinemaScope, which is almost twice the width, the big screen. It features the astonishing giant squid attack, which remains one of Hollywood's most famous scenes. Walt's efforts proved worthwhile. The film took the world by storm. It was a box office smash, and it sailed away with 2 Academy Awards for art direction and special effects, along with a nomination for editing. This film is considered one of the best examples of early CinemaScope productions.
Love it. I was waiting for my cue. Love 20,000 Leagues. Great story. The live action the practical effects of the squid, octopus, whatever the heck that thing is there's a lot of great stories around that too, about what that scene was like on the set filming that. People were beyond impressed.
You are correct. At first, it was 28 people that it took, and then they looked at it and it looked fake. It looked hokey because it was on the CinemaScope, which was massive, and they're like, "Wow, we can see more." So then they had 100 people operating that thing. They had to basically reshoot it. And I love Kirk Douglas, and
he's the man.
He's the man. Great film. Swiss Family Robinson. We talked about this in the past. Both of our childhoods. We loved it. The complex location filming resulted in a 6-month shoot that went several weeks over schedule. Another glitch arose post-production when the sound was found to be unusable and the entire principal cast had to be regrouped in England for 28 days of re-recording every single word of dialogue heard in the film. Filmed in breathtaking widescreen Panavision, it was the most expensive Disney movie ever filmed up until that time. But as Walt said, such a great story as The Swiss Family Robinson deserves every penny we spent on it. Audiences agreed, making it one of the most popular films Walt ever produced.
I want to live in that house. That's all I'm saying. I want to live in that house. Just by choice. I don't want to get stranded on an island. I just want that to be my home.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I did this homework, but I worked in filmmaking for many years. I was an AD, and ADR is a very difficult skill for an actor to have to do. And let me just tell you something. I've never heard of 28 days of re-recording every line of dialogue. That means that they were by themselves without acting, and they had to react what they did in the scene. I cannot imagine how difficult it was, and I cannot believe I did not know that, because that has to be epic.
Normally, ADR is reserved just for those things that didn't quite go very well on set, and so because it doesn't, getting things synced, that seems impossible to sync.
I can't believe it. That's literally jaw dropping to me.
For sure.
That's incredible. The Aristocats, 1970. It's Disney's first animated feature film completed without Walt Disney. It took over 4 years to complete, budgeted at more than $4 million, and included 325,000 drawings made by 35 animators. It was a box office hit, and it earned reissues in 1980 and 1987.
Cool beans.
Cool beans. Interestingly enough, it's one of my son's favorite. He watches it over and over again. I know.
It's all right for me.
Yeah, I can't even tell. I couldn't even tell you the storyline. I barely remember it, and he watches it constantly.
Interesting.
Old Yeller, Christmas Day, 1957. The death, spoiler alert, of... I mean, it's 1957. I mean, there's got to be a statute of limitations. The death of Old Yeller is often referred to as the saddest moment in all of the live-action Disney films. Many adults have often described it as the worst moment from their childhoods. Fun fact, because that was not fun, and I cried my eyes out. The sounds of Old Yeller growling and snarling, I can't read my own writing, after he becomes rabid can also be heard during both of the Tramps fight scenes in Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, no kidding.
Did you cry? Everybody wants to know.
At Lady and the Tramp? No, I didn't cry at all. No, I have never seen Old Yeller. I know what it's about, but I mean, I'm a dog guy, so it's just too much for me. I just can't.
I mean, what were you doing during these years? Though? Like our childhood when we had VHS, I don't know. I just feel like these things I was spoon fed them. I didn't have much choice. It just happened.
I wasn't. I mean, I was watching Apple Dumpling Gang. I didn't watch Old Yeller. I don't know.
I watched that too. That's a good one. Well, you saved yourself a childhood scarring.
Perhaps
it's not Disney, but I was also caught crying by an entire Tupperware party for Charlotte's Web. True story. The Sword and the Stone, 1963 Christmas Day. Legendary story artist Bill Peet used Walt as his inspiration for Merlin. Walt never knew that I patterned Merlin the magician after him when I wrote the script. In my drawings of Merlin, I even borrowed Walt's nose. Peet later revealed.
One of the weirdest stories, The Sword and the Stone, is perhaps the strangest bit of writing I mean, it's not a movie. I don't know what it is, but it's not a movie. It's an hour and a half of training montage, and then he's the king. It's like
Yeah,
we're not
don't
even an hour
know.
and a half, an hour or whatever. But it's a strange movie.
Yeah, I've seen it recently, like within the last few years, and I don't really remember. I don't know. I just kind of put these things on just to say I watched them. I think sometimes too much activity going on around me. The Lion King was released on Christmas Day in 2002 in IMAX. Of course, the original was '94, but they re-released it on IMAX, and it became one of the highest-grossing films of all time.
Way to go, Lion King.
Yeah, exactly. So here's a fun one that I threw in there because it's my second favorite movie of all time. Disney releases the Hollywood Pictures film Tombstone.
Oh man.
I love me some Tombstone. And another fun fact, Robert Mitchum was signed on, who I love, Robert Mitchum, signed on to star as Old Man Clanton. Prior to principal photography, he fell off of his horse and injured his back, forcing him to quit. Instead, Mitchum does provide the narration at the beginning and the end of the film. I only put that in there because I love that movie. 1957, the internationally themed Christmas in Many Lands parade debuted, and it ran until 1964. It was replaced by the long-running Fantasy on Parade.
Way to go, Christmas Fantasy Parade.
I guess so. I don't know anything about it. This one you may know about. This was our time. 1955 was not our time, but the Mike Fink Keel Boats Frontierland attraction opened on Christmas Day. Based on the TV episode Davy Crockett's Keel Boat Race, the boats are the Gullywumper name for Fink's boat and the Bertha May name for Davy's boat. The keel boats closed in 1994, reopened in 96, only to close for good in 97. Do you remember this attraction?
I never went on it. I don't remember it, but you can still see it. The boat is still there on the river, I think, right? It came back after closure, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that boat, I believe, is a remnant of it, a part of it, because there was like a roof to it.
Yeah, well, they definitely did do like a refurbish. They restored one, and that's what's a restored version of one of those boats, I think, if I understand the history correctly. I think.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you because, to be honest with you, I had never heard. I feel like I've never heard that name before. But then when I looked at the photos, I was like, oh, I totally remember that.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that name. The name felt new to me.
Mike Fink.
Mike Fink keel boats. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know. 1937. This is fun. Walt was never Time's Man of the Year, but he was spotlighted on the cover twice. First, Walt graced the cover for the December 27th, 1937 issue. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs had just premiered, and the article incorporated a glowing review of the film that was about to become a phenomenon into a tour of the Disney studio and a profile of its namesake leader. 17 years later to the day, in 1954, Time again showcased Walt, this time in a prestigious portrait painted by Boris Mr. Time Chalopin, the magazine's most prolific cover artist. The subtitle under the cover art indicates Walt's new role as the new titan of television. To Enchanted Worlds on Electric Wings, for the weekly Disney television hour, had become an instant sensation only 9 weeks earlier. But to truly indicate Disney's expansion beyond pure animation in the 1930s to unimaginably expanded horizons, the cover story reported on this strange new under construction dream, Disneyland. For as high as Time thought Walt had flown, he had only just begun to soar.
Well said.
Pretty cool. I love those moments, like when imagine 1937, and then imagine 1954 when it's almost like this crazy guy with this dream. You know what I mean? Like, what are people thinking when they hear about this thing?
I know, right?
And it's so interesting. So that does this week in Disney history, and
right.
it is mail time.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. David, Ryan D. Lister, I should say. I can't read and write. What's the best and worst place you have ever been stuck on a ride?
Best is it just happened on the day that I was testing Genie for the first time. The boulder scene right underneath Indiana Jones. I got stopped there for a good 10 minutes with the lights on and everything. Got a good look at the boulder and the whole platform that it sits on, and we sat there idling for a while trying to discover how this thing works. That was pretty cool. That was the coolest thing that had ever happened to me in a park in quite a while. But that's actually the only time, really, any kind of significant. I don't get stopped on rides. So I can't think of a worse time. I've seen people get stuck on Incredicoaster and things like that at inopportune moments, but it's never happened to me, really. That's it.
Yeah, I haven't been stuck on rides often at all. I really haven't. I put best Astro Blasters. The reason I put it, because when I get stuck in a good location, I get over 2 million, and I'm the winner for the day, or at least the winner at that moment, because I do it in the morning. So that's always fun. I put the worst only because I just wanted to answer the question. I put Indy on the bridge, and it's not because it was terrible. The lights never did come on, but I just felt like we're there forever. We're just sitting there forever, and you're next to people you don't know, so it's just like, hey, how's the family? Jedi Master Johns asks us, David, up until recently, the only place to buy alcoholic beverages inside of Disneyland was Club 33. Now that you can imbibe in Galaxy's Edge and Blue Bayou, do you feel it has changed the dynamic of the park, or is it just Disneyland finally getting with the times?
Not in the least. It hasn't changed anything for me. I don't even think about it. Matter of fact, just hearing that question made me realize or remember, oh my gosh, that's right, they do sell alcohol at Oga's and at Blue Bayou. No, there's no impact at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think there's any impact at all. I do go to Oga's because I like going in there, and I like they have this blue mule type of thing that's so good.
Yeah, Oga's drinks are great.
Yeah, I just like the vibe. It's fun, and the fact that it's kind of like you're almost forced to be in and out, so I do enjoy it. But I think that it was a necessary thing that was coming. Look, it's 2021. Eventually a beer was going to be able to be had, and I like that they keeping it. Still, it's like a slow.
Not like they're sorting it everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't notice it, and I think it was inevitable, frankly. Okay, last one. This is from Jeffrey. Why do you think they are giving us so much live entertainment at Avengers Campus, but Galaxy's Edge still has next to nothing?
That's a good question, actually. In so much as I feel like the reason why we have more live entertainment at Avengers Campus is because of lessons learned from Galaxy's Edge that we should have had. That's a thing that they didn't do enough of, and they realized their mistake, and are doing more of that in Avengers Campus. But why that hasn't now, so let's go. What are we waiting for at Galaxy's Edge? I don't know. The one other thing that I could think of is that Avengers Campus visibly appears to be purpose-built for doing things like the Dora Milaje, where there's that big wide-open space in the middle of the land where they can have things happen. You've got the Avengers Campus headquarters where things can happen. It's built for that way. There are places like that at Galaxy's Edge, kind of, but there's not as much space on the ground for, let's say, an on-the-floor entertainment. There should be. They need to get their act together on Galaxy's Edge. I'll just say that. They need to get their act together.
They really do. I agree with that. I feel exactly what you said. I second everything you said because I think you're spot on. I put, they wanted it different. They didn't want both the lands to be the same. They're different experiences and different things. But that, it's more aligned with Marvel. Like David said, the stunt shows just by nature, even though there's quote unquote sword fighting in Galaxy's Edge. Marvel's almost a Cirque du Soleil show as it is. Yeah. And then the third thing I put is, dare I say, they learned from their Star Wars Galaxy's Edge mistakes. Like they were like, okay, we definitely have to move forward from here. In a way that's going to get us a little bit of better buzz than the stale, stagnant kind of water that's created in Galaxy's Edge. 5 things Disneyland. Thank you for the questions. We appreciate it. Thank you for the submissions of 5 things Disneyland as well. This one I made up on my own.
Oh, fun.
I know. It was just because of the time of year. I'll still get to the rest of those other ones. But the top 5 Disneyland resort things we're asking Santa for in 2022. Mr. Erickson.
This is the one. This is definitely one of those cases where I wish that Santa was real. Spoiler alert, and that my that my Christmas wishes could come true. Number 5 for me is I would ask Santa for concept art for a new Tomorrowland and a place from which to watch them build it.
I think that's beautiful, and I want to be with. I want to be in your Christmas morning as well. I want to share Christmas morning with you when Santa does these.
Okay.
These things. My number 5 is reservations become obsolete. We have to make them, but nobody is denied. It's just for Disney to control
figure it out.
things.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's a option that not enough people are talking about. Because go ahead and have us make a reservation. Make us tell you when we want to be there, but don't limit. That seems like a fair bargain, right?
It absolutely does, because you want your data, and we'll give you your data. And I also think you should be I do agree with the penalty for saying you're going to be there and not showing up. Yeah. That's a fair thing as well.
Yeah. Okay, my number 4 is just a good old-fashioned MaxPass. Let's just simplify things. Stop trying to confuse everybody, and you're still making your $20 a pop. It's cost the same, so it's not like they're still getting their money. They're $20. I'm okay with that finally, but can we just go back to MaxPass? Can we just do that?
I also agree. I think that's a great idea, and it simplifies things. And yeah, I think you're right. My number 4 is basically your number 5. Announce plans for the direction of Tomorrowland.
Yes.
Just let us know you care.
That's it. You don't have to build it. I just want to know what you're going to do.
That's so funny. And I was so scared of that when I was thinking about this and writing it there, because it was same thing with the backlot or whatever. I started thinking, man, that stupid Disneyland, not stupid, but I say it only in terms of the 30-year plan, the Disneyland
the forward. Yeah.
It's like, okay, if that's a 30, like nothing's ever going to happen, because that just kind of like calibrated like timelines.
Yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. Let us know you care.
Absolutely. I want them to do more of that. Okay, my number 3 is more live entertainment in the parks. I want a show in Tomorrowland. I want the Jedi Training Academy. Put that in Galaxy's Edge. You don't even have to reimagine it. All you have to do is find the space to put that dang show on. I want a show at Galaxy's Edge, and I want a live band back in New Orleans Square. I want more entertainment in general, but those 3 things would be just fine with me.
Also concur. I think that's a great point and a very, very fair thing to ask anybody for, especially Santa.
Yeah, thanks, Santa.
Number 3, dear Santa, Darth Vader, Galaxy's Edge, love, Ronnie.
Have you been good, Ronnie? Because if you've been good, then we might just make that Santa thing happen.
I mean, I can explain.
I feel like that's not a hard. That's like low-hanging fruit for Santa. He should be able to knock that out. It's not a difficult thing to give us Darth Vader in Galaxy's Edge. It's not.
I feel like he's saying, "Phew, finally got an easy one."
Same thing with Jedi Training Academy. You don't even have to. You don't have to reimagine it. It's already thought of. You've already got the system in place. Just put it over there.
Yes.
My number 2 is I want the park no capacity limits in the park. I am sick of capacity limits. It's just, I don't know why Disney's hanging on to this idea when no other park is doing. Nobody anywhere is limiting capacity anywhere except for Disneyland. What are you doing?
I could not agree more with that, and it goes back to what I've always said before. It used to be the Wild Wild West, and there was no problems. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I still refuse to believe that it was not going to be that again. It's all theater, I believe. So hopefully that Santa does grant your wish or provide you with your request. My number 2, more entertainment. Also aligned with theater. I put more entertainment. Hire more and take care of your CMs and Imagineers.
Yeah.
They are the people responsible for our happiness and our enjoyment in the parks. So it's all about value, right?
Yep.
So hire more entertainers for stage shows, for stunt shows, for parades. That's value. The customer service that we get from cast members is immeasurable value to us as a guest. So please, they can make or break our entire visit. So hire more and take care of them.
When it comes to people complaining about paying the same but getting less, that's exactly what we're talking about. Is that all the rides are open, and there's the illusion that it's the same as it was, but it's not. It is not the same. I could run down a list of a dozen things that we used to get that we don't get anymore. Disney needs to take care of that entertainment thing. They need to take care of their cast members. They need to spend money to make money, and that goes towards also show me that you love me by giving us this stuff that isn't an attraction. That's a symbol of it's an indicator that they care. Those
and I also
live
think,
entertainment.
Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, I also think that you get what you pay for in terms of if you're buying a product, and I don't mean that in regards to Disneyland, but it's also when you're paying people. Do you think that if they feel like they're not compensated well and they're not appreciated, this happens in all walks of life for business. When an employee feels appreciated, they will run through a wall for you.
Yes,
they will go the extra mile, and they're doing it right now for us, the guests.
Yeah.
And they're not really being, taken care of in a way that they should treated fairly, I guess.
You want the cast members to give that exceptional service to us guests, but what's in it for them? Because they're not getting paid.
just kindness. They're just that kind. I know, right?
All right. Well, where your number 5 was no reservations, that is my number 1 wish from Santa. I am over the reservation system. I am not a fan. There are folks out there who think it's a good thing because it limits capacity, but I'm here to tell you that the reservation system is not what is limiting capacity. It's not what's keeping the parks low in terms of how busy it is. It's Disney choosing not to allow that many guests in the park. The reservation system by itself is not doing that. The reservation system is nothing but I don't know. It's limits. They're just it's no good for us and all good for Disney in terms of what they get out of it. But there's no redeemable point of a reservation system for the common guests. I want them to get rid of it, and I want to be able to go whenever I want.
Totally agree. It almost feels like they're just trying to buy themselves time to figure out what they're.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know. What they're,
I don't know. I don't know what reason they have for it, to be honest.
Right, but that just makes me think more and more and more and more. Fine, have reservations, but nobody's denied. Anybody can get it anytime they want. You want your data? We want to go to the park. Everybody wins. Okay, my number 1, Santa. I want to feel giddy again about Disney leadership, and this is not a shot at Chapek, but just in general, the direction. I want to feel giddy about Disney leadership, the direction of the parks in 2022 and beyond, and in the future. I want things to look forward to, like we mentioned the concept art. You mentioned the concept art for, let's clean that up. Concept art for Tomorrowland. Let's talk about the reservation system, how that's going to get better or go away. Genie Plus, all of these different things, the MaxPass, everything that you already mentioned. Just get us, change the narrative, and by doing things that get us excited and get us back on board.
Yeah, the message that comes out of Disney management these days is profit. And that's Disney has always been interested in profit. That's never been a secret. I mean, they've been called the evil empire for decades, right? But it's never been more transparent than it is today. It's never been more obvious that they are literally asking for our money at every chance they get. To your point, it would be great if the message that we got from Disney management was that they give a rip about what our experience is in the parks, and they should be. You can go ahead and try to make a dollar while doing that. I'm all for it, but the message that like you're saying is that you care, and start doing things like that. Management needs to figure out that it's not just about dollars.
You're exactly right. It's funny because I was about to say, when you first said what you said, I was going to say back at the Disney previously, the evil empire, they still presented the, if you will, illusion. We still felt like they cared.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
they were trying.
always. I did, yeah.
That's the big difference, right? The big difference all of a sudden is they're flaunting,
yes,
this is about profit. Sorry.
Well,
sorry about your luck.
Ron, all you got to do is listen to a quarterly earnings call. And they have these conversations during this quarterly earnings call where they think they're talking in private to their investors, like, here's all the stuff that we're going to do to capitalize. And they're like, guys, we can hear you. We can hear you. We know what, you think we're fat and you think that we're not spending enough money. And I mean, like, come on. Stop doing that kind of thing. Stop doing that.
That is exactly right. All right. Well, so many good things to talk about. I guess anything else you want to close on, because that was good.
Yeah, no, I would close it back to our earlier conversation, MaxPass or MaxPass,
Right.
Genie Plus. It's not as bad as you think. I mean, it's getting a bad rap because they feel like we're having to pay for it, but we had to pay for MaxPass before. Although I will say, I forgot to mention this, FastPass was still free. MaxPass was $20, but come on, who wasn't using MaxPass? I mean, how many of us were really using the free paper fast passes? It's not as bad as it seems, but there are also there's plenty to not like about Genie, but there's plenty to like about Genie Plus.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big fan. I really am. I like it. I utilize it especially on the days when I want to go on a lot of attractions. When I have friends and family visiting, it's a must, because I just get to show them an experience. Because of course I have experience, so I can teach them how to go through the park and utilize it. I think it's worth it for most people, unless you're going every single weekend, like me. That buttons up this show,
all right.
David. That may or may not wrap up our year. Actually, next week to be determined. We'll see. A lot of holiday stuff going on, so we may or may not be back.
Yep.
But either way, happy holidays to everyone. That's a wrap on today's show. Thank you all for the support and all for the questions and everything that you've done to make this show so great over the last several months. David, I want to thank you for being such a partner in crime. This has been fantastic. I love what we do. I love talking Disney with somebody that knows it even far greater than I do. Not that I know it that great, but I appreciate the collaborative efforts.
No. Thank you, Ron, because without you, this podcast wouldn't be happening, because I would have kept putting it off forever. I would have put it off forever. So thank you for taking the lead on this, and we're 18 episodes in. Feels like I mean, I can't believe it. We're already 18 in.
We're already 18 in, and then there's all kinds of fun things that we can do with sponsorships and things like that we haven't even touched on. I haven't even touched on, because we just wanted to put the product out there, and we're going to keep on making it better.
Sponsors, I'm ready to sell out. Whenever you're ready, come.
Yep.
I'll slap your logo right here on this video if you want.
It's coming. I just have to do my part. I'm busy. I wish I was full time like you, because there's so many things I want to do, but unfortunately, right. I have still got to work for the man. This is a great show. FreshBaked will be back in 2 weeks at most. Next week. At most. Thank you for everything, and I guess until we see you again.
FreshBaked.
FreshBaked.
Man, I nailed that.